Board of Equalization meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. It's 3:00 p.m. Please silence all cell phones. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the county boardroom. We have present today Commissioners Kelly, Klug, Warren, Mixon, and Burmeister, along with our County Administrator Bonnie Moore, our County Clerk Deb Hotelling, our Deputy County Treasurer Dan Talakis, and our County Assessor Dan Pittman. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You need me to help.
We'll start with item number 4, the consent equalization agenda that has items of regular business that are routine. Would anyone like to see any items removed from the consent agenda, or if not, a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Klug. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Item 5.1 is exemption applications on real and personal property by qualifying organizations, Form 451. Request for a waiver of filing deadline tabled from April 16, 2024 to allow for assessor review for Housing Foundation for Sarpy County, 31 parcels for years ranging from 2021 to 2023, Carolyn Pospisil and Dan Pittman, County Assessor. And if you want to come up, Dan, did you want to go first, or do you want Carolyn to go first?
Good afternoon, Dan Pittman, County Assessor. This is just for a waiver permitting the county assessor to give a recommendation on permissive exemptions.
Perfect. And Carolyn, did you want to present? If you'll just come to the podium, state your name and spell your last name for us.
Hi, Carolyn Pospisil, P-O-S-P-I-S-I-L.
Perfect. And did you just want to explain here what happened?
Sure. These are for Housing Foundation for Sarpy County. These units used to be public housing under Bellevue Housing Authority. At that time, we paid a payment in lieu of tax. And then once the public housing program was dispositioned, we removed all the properties from underneath HUD, and they now belong to the nonprofit. The nonprofit is still operating them as low-income housing, and the pilot was removed because it was because they left the public housing program. At the time that we did that, and before those decisions were made, we were under the understanding that that at that point that they would, since they were going to the nonprofit, that there'd be no property tax assessed. And so at that point, over the last couple of years, since this started in 2021, I wasn't aware that we were supposed to have been making those payments on property tax, because I thought we were still under the exemption clause. So,
Any questions for Carolyn or for Dan before we have our county attorney give some explanation?
Okay, so were property taxes paid in any of the years?
no, they have not been.
Okay,
No, I was under the, like I said, under the understanding that we didn't have to.
okay, great.
So I have a question for Mr. Pittman. Mr. Pittman, are they required to file an application?
I think that's Annie.
Well, that's really a legal question, and I would recommend that you probably talk to your legal counsel.
You slept in a Holiday Inn Express last night, didn't you?
Annie, did you have some guidance for us here?
So upon review of the statutes, it appears that the housing agency may be considered a political subdivision. Housing agencies or wholly owned controlled affiliates of housing agencies are exempt under the statute without the requirement for an application.
And so in this instance, the board could decide to take no action on, based on the fact that they wouldn't be required from legal guidance to file the application in the first place?
That's my opinion, yes, that you could take no action, as effectively the request for waiver is moot.
Okay. Any questions for?
So would we make a motion to take no action?
No. No, we just would not take any action.
That's fair enough.
Perfect.
But no action is an action. I'm just kidding. Shall we just go on to the next thing?
Yeah, unless anybody else has questions or,
So, Mr. Pittman, are you good with what has been, what legal has stated here?
Well, it's an interpretation of the law, and not being an attorney, it's not my purview, but I believe I heard in the testimony that this was a private charitable organization, and it's my understanding that private charitable organizations file exemption applications with county assessors in order to get a recommendation on their exempt status.
Okay, but legal is saying it's, Annie, say that again, it's a political subdivision?
The housing agency is a political subdivision, and so its real and personal property is exempt, as well as wholly owned controlled affiliates thereof, which this could fall under that category.
And I just don't see the political subdivision part of it. I still don't, but
Okay, well, we're taking no action, so, well, I should say, I think that's, our legal is saying to take no action, and I'm just curious, who's going to clear this up, whether it's the assessor or legal or a combination of both, because, or is the state, just, if we take no action, can you help me out, Annie? Because if we take no action, it's going to go back to the state, and the state is going to say what, in your opinion?
The state won't have to have any statement on this. Tax correction would be added to the agenda for the parcels in order to address the taxes on the property.
Okay, so now we need a tax correction brought forward. So, Mr. Pittman, are you going to do that then?
okay. Well, this is.
Or are you going to
got a few
review
moving
it? and
parts.
let-
Well, right now, as I understand it, what's before you is the waiver. And so if you grant the waiver, then it falls back in the assessor's lap to make a recommendation. And the county attorney is saying that this is a government agency that probably should not have had to file an exemption application in the first place. I can tell you historically, Bellevue Housing Authority has always filed in lieu of taxes. As I understand the statutes, that's voluntary. They're not required to do that. It's just a contribution to some of the tax base without being called a tax. And it's still not clear as to the in lieu of tax situation. If I read it correctly, this housing foundation can either contribute to the tax base, sue it in lieu of tax, or say, no, we don't want to, and no, then they don't contribute anything, and they become completely exempt. They come off the tax rolls completely. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question then, or I'm going to ask for you, since you are thinking differently than legal, can legal and you work together and get this figured out so we kind of know what's what?
Yes, I believe we can. I think the one entity we've not talked to because of not being able to get a hold of the right individual will be the state of Nebraska's legal counsel. And I know Sarpy County has talked to Douglas County, to their compliance officer, which is Mike Goodwillie, who worked for the Department of Revenue for a long time and a very reliable source on these matters. And I believe he's taken the position that these would be exempt. I would like the opportunity to ask legal counsel in the state of Nebraska what their take would be on it, and they may have no take on it. And at the end of the day, if it's interpretation of the law, that's when I sit down, because I'm not an attorney.
Right. No, and I'm okay with that. I'm just trying to make sure it still seems like we have two opinions, and I just want to get that to be everybody coming together and say, okay, here's what we have. So if we need some further time, I don't know what we would do next. Annie, I'm going to ask you, if we want this to get worked out, do we just delay this another week, or do we take no action?
That choice is up to you. If you take no action, the waivers won't move forward, they won't be denied either, so there wouldn't be any timeline started. If no action is taken and it's deemed that action needs to be taken in the future, they could be placed back on the agenda, or you can choose to table a week to discuss it again. But if you take no action and we're able to, if I work with Mr. Pittman and we're able to get it sorted out, then they wouldn't have to come back to the board in this form. They would only come back as the tax corrections.
Okay, to me, since we're not under any real constraint of time here, I think it only makes sense to delay this one more week, and legal and the assessor, you guys get together, get all the ducks in a row, and then let's put this to bed next week.
Do you have that same option, Annie, if we just take no action?
Yes, in theory, if it probably wouldn't come back next week if we weren't able to work something out. If it was determined that the waivers did need to have action taken on them, it would probably be set out for more weeks than one.
2 weeks?
Possibly.
Yeah, let's just go at 2 weeks, and then we'll just go on. We'll make a decision then, but that'll give you enough time to everybody get together and get this sorted out.
So are you looking at May 7th, Commissioner Mixon? May 7th?
If that's
Okay.
2 weeks, you're
I just
in.
want to clarify.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner, if I may, even if it's not tabled today and no action is taken, there's still a possibility that it can be put back on the agenda. So I understand where you're coming from on the 2 weeks, but it might take more or less time than that to sort it out, and it can still be put back on the agenda, even if no action's taken today.
So it gives them actually more options if we take no action than to table it for a specific time and require them all to come back when they might not be ready.
Time taking, no
Just my 2 cents.
Is that what just was said, no action, or, okay, that's fine.
So anybody else have questions? Okay. So unless somebody wants to make a motion, we'll just take no action and move forward.
Are you making a motion, Don?
Nobody made a motion. And I think nobody's going to. I think we're okay.
Okay.
All agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Equalization is adjourned. We'll move on to the Board of Commissioners.
Give me 1 minute. Okay.
Welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. It's 3:12 p.m. We have present today Commissioners Kelly, Klug, Warren, Mixon, and Burmeister, along with our County Administrator Bonnie Moore and our County Clerk Deb Hotelling. We'll start with Commissioner Administrator announcements and comments, starting with Commissioner Mixon.
None, thank you.
No comment. No comments, thank you.
Okay, Bonnie?
Give me just a second, I'm sorry. I apologize, I just want to call up our Corrections Director, Jake Betzworth, just say a few words about Corrections Director, or Corrections Officer that passed away.
Monday morning, Nicholas McVeigh was found deceased in his residence by his son, who attends Papillion South High School. He's 15 years old. His name is Hunter. And his mom, Erin, and Nick have been in a relationship for about 17 years. So the Corrections Department's going through a difficult time right now, trying to support them as much as possible. We've assigned a team to assist them through the process. And right now, the funeral looks to be on Friday, but there's some complications. So I will keep everyone abreast of those changes as we go. They've started a GoFundMe to try to help with raising funds for the funeral. So, yeah, just keep us in your thoughts and prayers. So.
Will do, Jake. Nick was a member of the youth group at my church, so we had prayer requests out for his family there and sending thoughts and
I
prayers
guess
from the
also
board.
goes to mention he was a Bellevue volunteer fireman for 5 years, heavily involved in the Boy Scouts, where his son was also a Boy Scout, close to becoming an Eagle Scout. And so just a lot of involvement in the community, long time in Sarpy County. So.
Item number 4 is the consent commissioners agenda. Would anyone like to see any items removed from the consent agenda?
I'd like to move item 4.7 to the regular agenda.
Okay, and then is there a motion to approve the amended consent agenda?
And a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve the amended agenda by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Klug. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Item 4.7 is Resolution 2024-118, ratify memorandum of understanding between Sarpy County Sheriff's Office and Operation Underground Railroad, Inc. for a GK Magnet digital forensic system in the amount of $12,485 to assist in rescuing human trafficking victims. Greg London, Chief Deputy Sheriff.
Yeah, and I asked this to be moved off because this, to me, this is a very unique and creative with Operation Underground Railroad, and I want to hear a little bit more about it, but I commend you guys for the work putting this together.
Thank you. Greg London with the Sheriff's Office. Yes, I did sign the MOU, but Kyle Persfield, our lieutenant in investigations, going to answer the questions.
Hello, Kyle Persfield.
So then all praise to you, Kyle.
You're rad.
Let's get this right.
I can give you guys a quick overview. We've been working at the Sheriff's Office to try to build out our digital forensics lab. As crimes continue to progress, criminals are getting smarter, and a lot of it has a digital piece to it. And one of those involves child exploitation and that human trafficking piece, and a lot of digital evidence that goes along with that. We've had some tools at the Sheriff's Office, but we've been trying to build it out because with the advancements in technology, we need better tools to be able to stay up to date, and so we can get all of that evidence. And one of those is this, for lack of a better term, it's a gray key device. It just helps us gain access to cell phones in a forensically sound manner for good criminal cases. And we had been sharing that with another organization, another law enforcement agency in the county, but caseloads are getting high, and there's a long queue, and that delays our ability to investigate these in a timely manner. So we had reached out to the vendor to get some information on how much a new one would cost as budget planning was coming forward, and they had connected us with Operation Underground Railroad, who graciously offered to pay for the first year and for the device itself to partner with us to build that relationship to start. And then the organization itself has a lot more resources than just being able to provide funds for equipment. So if we need their assistance in the future, if God forbid, a human trafficking victim that starts in Sarpy County ends up somewhere else, they might have some connections and some knowledge that might help us get a faster and a better resolution. So that's what we did to start this partnership.
Perfect. Any questions for? All right. Thanks so much for coming out and giving us an update. Appreciate it.
Make a motion to approve 2024-118.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Mixon. Any discussion? Please vote.
Jim, did you get the? There it goes. Okay. And okay, please vote now. Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Greg. Kyle.
Item 5.1 is public hearing, possible vacation of county road right-of-way on 180th Street north of Giles Road. Andrea Gosnold Parker, Senior Deputy County Attorney.
Okay. So this is part of the 180th and Giles cleanup project. For this item, the engineer was directed to perform a study and provide the recommendation on February 27th. The board accepted that recommendation or accepted receipt of that recommendation, I should say, on March 26th. Notice of this public hearing was published on April 1st, 8th, and 15th. Today, before the board, is a public hearing on the matter. No action will need to be taken today. A vote will come on the vacation at a later date. Are there any specific questions?
Any questions for Annie? All right, this is a public hearing. Would anyone like to be heard on this item? Come on up. If you'll come to the podium and state your name and spell your last name for us, that'd be great.
Trevor Veskrna with TD2 Engineering and Surveying, VESKRNA, just here representing the applicant, here to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Any questions for Trevor? Great. Anyone else here on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to item 5.2, public hearing, possible vacation of the west 33 feet Outlot H, Windsor East, Andrea Gosnell Parker, Senior Deputy County Attorney.
Okay, as with the previous item, here the engineer was directed to conduct a study on February 27th. The board accepted receipt of that recommendation on March 26th. Publication for the public hearing was held on April 1st, 8th, and 15th. Today, again, no action is required. This will come back for a vote at a later date.
Any questions for Annie? It's a public hearing. Anyone want to be heard on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll move on to item 5.3. Public hearing and recommendation to Liquor Control Commission, Soaring Wings Hospitality LLC, DBA Soaring Wings, application for a Class IK beer, wine, distilled spirits, on sale only liquor license with catering endorsement, as well as replacing their current Class Y and Class L licenses for business at 17111 South 138th Street, Springfield, Nebraska 68059. Patrick Ackerman, manager. If you'll state your names and spell your last names, that'd be great.
I'm Vanessa Silk. My last name is spelled S-I-L-K-E. I'm a partner with Baird Holm. I represent the applicant.
Hi, I'm Patrick Ackerman, A-C-K-E-R-M-A-N, and the owner of Soaring Wings.
Perfect.
So as it's summarized here, we're asking for your affirmative vote to approve these applications. Mr. Ackerman is here to answer specific questions you might have. He's the new owner of the Soaring Wings vineyard and craft beer location here in the county, and very excited to continue those operations. With your affirmative vote on these applications, he'll be able to continue the production capacity there. So with that, I ask you for your vote, and certainly Mr. Ackerman's here if you have questions.
Any questions? Okay.
None. So would this require 3 separate resolutions or one? I would make a motion to approve the recommendation to the Liquor Control Commission for Soaring Wings.
Is there a second?
Second.
This will need a public hearing, though.
Oh, yes, sorry. This is a public hearing. Thanks, Annie. Would anyone else like to be heard on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Warren and a second by Commissioner Klug. Any discussion?
None other than say welcome to Western Sarpy County, and I'm sure we'll become acquainted.
I believe it's Southern Sarpy County.
It's Western Sarpy County.
I believe it's central.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
District
welcome.
5. It's District 5, no matter where it's at.
Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5.4 is Resolution 2024-119, amendment to the WIFIA loan agreement related to the service agreement between the County of Sarpy, Nebraska and the Sarpy County and City's wastewater agency and related matters. Don Kelly, Commissioner, and Mike Rogers.
Yeah, I'd like to have Mike come up. Mike Rogers is the Sarpy County Bond Counsel, and while he's coming up, I just want to recognize a couple of folks from our agency that are here. Our Vice Chairman, Mayor Doug Kendig from La Vista is out here, and our agency administrator, Dan Hoynes, is here as well, and our agency legal counsel, Adam Charlson. Mike, over to you.
All right. Thank you. Again, Mike Rogers with Gilmore & Bell Bond Counsel for the county. So the resolution that's in front of you is actually just it's a consent for the agency to amend the loan agreement they have with WIFIA. Under the terms of the service agreement between the county and the agency is required to obtain written consent from the county, which can, in this case, is coming in the form of a board resolution before any amendments are made. The proposed amendment that they have with WIFIA is to amend the original loan agreement by having it re-executed. There have been no funds drawn on that loan agreement, so there's no principal outstanding, and WIFIA allows them to amend it once in order to reduce the interest rate. So the only change that will be made to the terms of the loan our reduction of the interest rate. Right now, the interest rate is 5.1%. The new interest rate won't be set until the day of closing, which right now I understand is set for Thursday of this week. The rate is based on the U.S. Treasury rates in place for the day of closing. Today, if the interest rate had been set today, it would have gone from 5.1% to 4.79%. And that would have resulted in a total savings over the life of the loan of approximately $6 million. And in terms of principal and interest payments annually, once principal and interest repayments happen, it would be approximately $200,000 a year savings for the agency. And again, no other terms are being changed under the loan agreement. There's no amendment being made to the service agreement, and none is required. This is just a consent of the county board for the agency to go through with that amendment. My understanding is the agency board is set to meet tomorrow to consider this amendment as well, and then the plan is for closing to happen on Thursday of this week.
Questions for Mike? And it's not possible for it to go higher, correct? The interest rate?
Correct. If rates would jump between now and Thursday, the agency would not be permitted to close. I'm sure they wouldn't want to anyway, but no, that's correct. They would not be able to end up with a higher interest rate.
Let's hope we get a little downward tick by Thursday, or at least nothing worse than where it's at now.
Yes, that's certainly the hope.
Yeah, so just anecdotally, we started this process. The interest rate was like 4.2, and it's just been excruciatingly painful to watch what's going on with the economy that's making the 10-year rate float so much. The economy's too hot. Inflation's not under control, so interest rates have been rising for the last several months, and it's just like every interest rate rise, it's just more money, and so it's frustrating, but it's still a win, $5 million or 6 million savings is not insignificant. So I'd be glad to close on this on Thursday.
Perfect. Any other questions? Anyone have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Klug. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Thanks, Mike.
Section, number 5.5 is Resolution 2024-093, Software as a Service Agreement with Tyler Technologies for the Register of Deeds Office for the Land Record Management System in the amount of $272,344. Amber Hotaling, Clerk, Register of Deeds Operations Manager.
Hello. We've done several years of research and scoping out various land records alongside our tech department and purchasing, and we've concluded that we do meet the criteria for a new land records management system, not just for internal processes, but for the public interface as well. I provided you more details. I don't know if you had a chance to review them, but I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions for Amber?
Does moving to this platform allow us to shift further away from storing paper, paying to store paper in locations?
We actually don't store any paper, so.
Really?
Right. We give all the originals back or mail them back, but we
Okay.
do a lot of e-recording vendors.
Excellent.
So.
Does it change the search history, like on the deeds?
Yes.
Oh, great. Any other questions?
But it's going to be better.
Make a motion to approve.
Perfect. Motion to approve by Commissioner Klug.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kelly. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Item 5.6 is Resolution 2024-120, vacation of various rights of right-of-way within the Connect Sarpy project area, 180th Street, Giles Road. Scott Bovick, Deputy Administrator.
Thank you, Commissioners. So last week, the County Board, you held a public hearing on the vacation of 3 parcels of right-of-way. No one was here to talk about those at the public hearing. The next step is for you to look at this resolution today, pass that, and remember that the county will retain this right-of-way as county property. We'll then join it with those adjacent parcels that the county already owns in the 180th and Giles area. And then we'll go through the process of getting an appraisal on these properties, working with those appraisers to understand the unique circumstances for these properties in terms of access and setbacks and utility easements. Then we'll package those parcels for sale, come back to you. You'll have to have a public hearing on advertising for sale, and then we'll go through that sale process. So today, again, is just vacating this right-of-way. We've gone through all the steps in the process, and then after that, we'll be packaging these parcels for public sale. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Scott?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Klug. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
And I meant to ask John Rice during my comment period if he'd like to introduce the folks he has visiting today. Would you like to do that, John?
Sure. I'll give him a good chance to expose and introduce himself. Clerk's in our office, by the way. Yep, Leandra Wood.
Hi, my name is Leandra Hazlett. I am a law clerk with the Sarpy County Attorney's Office, and I'm super excited to announce that I'm also joining them after I pass the bar in July. So, nice to meet you.
Which we fully anticipate.
Good luck. You'll do great.
Hi, I'm Seth Forsberg. I'm an intern with the County Attorney's Office. I graduated from Lincoln in December, and I plan to go to law school in August. But I've been with them since summer, and I really like it. And it's really entertaining, and not entertaining. Really.
It's entertaining.
Exciting is the right
Trust
word,
me.
but,
Come on in sometime, you'll see.
It's very entertaining.
But yeah, I really like it.
Excellent.
Perfect.
We really appreciate Seth too. He's an intern, but he's done a lot on the clerk side, we'll say, just by helping us out on that end. So it's been very beneficial for us. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks so much for coming out. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
All agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Commissioners is adjourned.